Now we can finally start our day. Today is officially the last day before we leave for Oregon, and it's already gotten off to a, let's just say, interesting start. I've been up since 4 a.m. going because my sensor decided to go crazy and say that I'm in the 30s and 40s for my blood sugar. When I actually checked it, I was in the mid 80s, and I just can't go back to sleep once I'm awake like that. So I got up, ran to the grocery store, bought stuff, made breakfast for everybody. I've already just dropped my aunt off at her physical therapy. I've done 2 loads of laundry, and now I'm heading down to find out some information for my mother, father, aunt, and maybe even myself. And in the middle of all that, I replaced my sensor, got it down here, because I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off. I forgot my phone, so it stopped pairing, and then my sensor decided to pop off as well, so I had to replace it with another one, which this is my last one before I have to get a new refill. It is barely 9 a.m. It's been a day. But come join me. We're going to run and have some errands today, and I'm going to talk about some life planning. Well, I guess post-life planning. Now, this is not a bad thing or a good thing. It's just a funny thing. I was just texting my wife and my mom to ask if they can help out with a couple things while I was gone, and I accidentally included a friend in the chat who is also a professional acquaintance, asking, hey, can one of you guys put the laundry in the dryer for me while I go run these errands? It's 9:05. It's been a day. Now, I don't want this whole video to be morbid, but I am coming down to a cemetery that my family has used for, well, as long as I've been around, to lay our family to rest in when they passed. And I'm here to get some information about my father's pending needs and my mother and aunt's future, and possibly even mine and Dana's. But I figured while I'm here, I'm gonna stop and pay my respects. We do have a lot of family buried here, like my cousin Elizabeth, who was more like a sister to me growing up. She passed away in '97, unfortunately, due to complications from leukemia. This was a hard one. This is when I was 12 or 13 years old. And to be fair, all of them were equally as hard. Just, with her, she was so young, whole life ahead of her. But this is one of the reasons I'm here. We have to be able to plan for the future. And here's another one. This is my cousin Mikey, Liz's brother. To this day, still the smartest human being I've ever had the privilege of knowing. So talented, so naturally gifted in so many things. Just unfortunately, he battled a lot of demons, and he was one of the most amazing artists I ever known as well. It took me a while to find this one because it was so covered in leaves and everything, which is a little disconcerting. And the other part is my uncle is actually buried with him here, and he had a little marker right here, but it's gone. That's actually another one of the reasons of my visit today. I want to find out exactly how much it would be to get his stone put in, or some sort of marker. Because he had one, but again, it's gone. I don't know where it went to. And not for nothing, this is the last resting space of a lot of people's loved ones, and this has not been kept up in a while. Granted, I know it rained yesterday and we had some wind, but this is more than a few days. There's some plots back here that doesn't look like they've been touched in months, if best. I'm gonna head to the office here and talk to him in a second, as like I said, I'm here to find out some more information for our future needs, but I wanna talk about our current needs too, because yeah, that's a little disconcerting how unkept a lot of stuff is, which is a little shocking because this cemetery is historically really good about keeping things up. This is the oldest cemetery in Tucson. Most of our founding fathers of Tucson are buried here. Well, one more stop before we head to the offices to pay some more respects. And also what I'm here to do for my father and them is actually located up here anyway. And this is my Aunt Carol, who passed away about 2.5 years ago, also of cancer. It's a great, beautiful picture my cousin chose to put on her headstone. She was a beloved wife, mother, and grandmother. Just, tragic ending. I guess all endings are tragic, just some are more tragic than others. And I have a few more over here that I'd like to go visit, but in all honesty, I just don't have the time right now. And a lot of the headstones are so overgrown, I couldn't find them right now if I wanted to. Even finding my cousin Mikey's took a little while, and I used to be able to walk to that one with my eyes closed. But the ones I'm walking to now are kind of the reasons I'm here. I was very fortunate growing up that I got to know both of my grandmothers really well. In fact, my mom's mom was kind of like my other mother. But my grandma on my dad's side, although we weren't very close, we were still closer than most of her grandkids, and we did speak on the phone, and I go visit her quite often. So when she passed away at the ripe old of 87, it was tragic, but at the same time, she had lived a full life. Now my grandfathers, on the other hand, I never had a chance to meet either one of them. My grandpa on my mom's side passed away in the 70s. I believe only my 2 oldest cousins ever got to meet him when they were babies. And unfortunately, I never got to meet him or my dad's dad. And this is his plot right here. So he served in the military, as did my father. And my dad is the 3rd. So people would think that I'm the 4th, but I'm actually not. My mom cannot stand the middle name. So I actually have a different middle name. So I am not the fourth, but for all intents and purposes, I am. And what actually brings me here today is my dad, amongst his last wishes, is he would like to be buried here with his parents. And my dad being in the armed services, the military will fully pay for his funeral and everything, but that's not my concern. My concern is what it would take to have him buried here. Because as you can see, this is one of the older parts of the cemetery, and there's not a lot of space available. So we would have to bury them together. And with my grandmother who's buried here, my dad's, one of his younger brothers named Tim, is already buried with her because he unfortunately passed away, nice way of putting it, passed away many years before I was born, and his ashes are buried with my grandmother when she passed. So presumably that's what he would like to have too. But this is what brings up the topic of the video, at least for this part. Like I said, I'm not gonna try and be morbid this whole time, is don't wait to have everything planned or done until after you're passed. Take the time out, consider your loved ones, your family, your friends. Plan this stuff ahead of time. It's not an easy conversation. It's not a conversation anybody wants to have, but it's a pertinent and needed one. It's very, very necessary. So I figured while I'm here, I'm also gonna see what it looks like to plan possibly mine and my wife's, but also to start the process of planning my mom and my aunt's. Although neither one of them are going away anytime soon, knock on wood. I also don't wanna be scrambling at the last minute when you're already going through enough hardship losing someone to worry about the logistics as well. This is the way my brain works. I'm a logistics, operations, and analytics guy. So let's work on the operations and analytics and logistics right now. But I'm also getting concerned. Half of it up here is kept up, the other half is falling apart. And I always feel really safe in the cemetery because there's always cops hanging out, like doing their paperwork and on breaks. So, I guess it's the safest place to be than any? It is definitely a scorcher out today. I was out there for maybe 10 minutes and I am drenched in sweat right now. The next stop is at the office here just to discuss again what those logistics would look like, or to see if I can. I did put in a request to have someone call me back, and they said within 24 hours, and that was almost 3 days ago. So I'm off today, I'm in the neighborhood. I would like to find out what it would look like for my dad, what I would need to start planning for my mom and my aunt, for myself, my wife, but also I really would like to start the process of getting my uncle's headstone after all these years. And I've talked to my cousin about it, his son, and we both agree, we're on the same camp with this. When we pass, I don't care about mine. Mostly because I'm gone. I have no say in the matter. But selfishly, this is more for people like myself that want to come and pay their respects, and it is a physical monument to their memorial, to their memory. I mean, I'm a collector. I collect all kinds of little things, so it makes sense that I'd want something like this. And also, I just want to make sure that I'm showing the respect I think he deserves. Now, at the end of the day, if we never do it, is it gonna lose anything? Like, are we gonna forget who he was? Absolutely not. Of course we're not gonna forget him. But in my family, Memorial Day has always been a huge deal. We all would get together. We would, as a family, visit all the cemeteries around Tucson and up in Phoenix where we have family buried, just to pay our respects and place wreaths, place flowers, and everything along those lines. Now, we haven't done it the last few years because my mother's health and my aunt's health has been on the decline. They couldn't really physically do it a whole lot anymore. And I've always tended to be working on this holiday, so it's not like I can go out and do it. But kind of like with Valentine's Day, I don't need a single day to show my love and respect. You know, when I'm in this neighborhood, I usually tend to swing by at least and just see what's going on and stop and see and have those flood of memories come back. This next part I'm gonna do off camera because it'd be a little weird that I'm shoving a camera in their face being like, what do I do for everybody in my family that's passing away? So I'm gonna take care of this and we'll be back for some fun stuff in a second. I promise, it won't all be morbid today. Well, that was an interesting education I just got. So I'm gonna break down just a couple of numbers. I think it's important. I swear no more morbid stuff after this. Last thing. So my goals today were to find out what it would cost to get the headstone for my uncle who passed away back in 2012, what the logistics were behind my dad's burial, being full military benefits and services, being buried with his parents as his request, and also seeing what it would cost for my mother and my aunt to get their plots and their final arrangements all set up and going. So it helps, it's a peace of mind thing in the long run for them. So here's some numbers to throw at you. My uncle's headstone, which the bare minimum they would do is about $1,600, which last time I helped pay for one, it was $400, and that was with stuff on there. So, ooh, that's gone up in price. But again, to me, it's a memorialization thing, So it's usually well worth the price. That's just pricey. For my dad, since my grandparents owned their plots, it would normally be half of the cost of normal interment. So about half of $7,500. So, let's just round up to $4,000 for all intents and purposes. Again, it's for final burial. Okay, fine. So between those, we're now up to $5,600. And that's just for a headstone and cremation, burial, and existing plots. For my mom and my aunt, since they be full everything, their bare minimum, because they gave me the minimal quote, and if someone who works with contracts and stuff every day, I always quote people at the highest amount, and we can work our way backwards if we like. In their case, the bare minimum will be about $8,900 each. So again, let's round up to $9,000, so let's say $18,000. So we're already up to about $25,000 for 2 burials, a half burial, and just a headstone. And that's, again, with their numbers and their words, minimal on everything. It's expensive to die, people. So that's why this is so important to look at ahead of time. So your loved ones don't have to worry about this when the time comes. You know that your final wishes are being met, or at least on paper. It's a morbid thing to deal with, but it's a real thing. A big part of life is having to be prepared for the end, no matter what the circumstances, because it could be you live to 95, you could wake up and die of a heart attack. Like, you don't know what life is going to throw at you, which is why I want to get here and help get this stuff planned out, or at least getting people to think about it. But man, it is definitely a big business. I think it's time for us to go find shoes or something. Unfortunately, we didn't get to finish the video I intended to shoot for today. So unfortunately, it's all morbid. But I actually got really sick right after this video. And I'm talking about sick to the point where I wound up at urgent care a few times. I still don't know what was wrong. It was kind of scary. It wasn't like normal sick. It was, well, that's not supposed to be like that. Eventually, we went to Oregon. Still was sick the whole time there, and now I'm feeling a little bit better, but I have some other issues now happening as a result. So I haven't been recording a whole lot lately, because coming back from Oregon, I've been really inundated with work, and we're getting ready for Tucson Comic-Con. Now, I'm not going to be there as a solo creator like I've been in the past, although they did send me a media badge, which thank you, Tucson Comic-Con. I'm actually going to be there for my day job, so it looks like I will be, for the first time ever, combining my day job with one of my outside passions like YouTube and comic book creation. So we'll see how that goes. So don't give up on me. Videos will get back to being regular soon. I'm working on a video currently where I'm talking about and discussing some books I plan on selling. But like most comic book collectors who are collectors, not sellers, I'm already having second thoughts. I got out a bunch of the books that I was like, I'm going to sell these. They don't mean as much to me personally. I'm not going to miss them if they're gone. As soon as I pulled them out, the floodgate of memories associated with those books just came pouring in. So I'm now on the fence about whether or not I'm going to sell them, but we'll see. I go back and forth. But right now, I'm heading to work, and I really have to take care of my health stuff. So I don't know what that means just yet, because I'm definitely not feeling good, and it's not good. Until next time, let's take another ride again soon. Sorry about the delay on this one, because this one's actually like 3.5 weeks in the making, and it definitely has not been worth the wait. But I hope it was helpful for anyone that's out there that is at that point where they have to start worrying about future plans for not only themselves, but their older loved ones. So hopefully it kind of gives you an insight and lets you know that it's not as scary to do. It's just not easy to do, if that makes any sense. Until next time, everybody, bye-bye. Be safe. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Next time.